Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, Briar Greaves Insurance are the best people in the business to work with. So learn more about them at briargreavesinsurance.com. Give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Tuesday edition of the show. We are keeping the hits coming. If you did not watch yesterday's show, we spent the whole hour with the Bucs general manager, Jason Light. That was a ton of fun. A lot of great information was revealed from that, and overall, just a fun conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to try to top that today by recapping the first day of Bucs mandatory minicamp. We're going to talk Hassan Reddick. We're going to talk a little Tristan Wirfs and discuss what went on during today's practice. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at pewterreport.com. SR, Scott Reynolds. And Scott, what a day it was. We started inside for Bucs practice, then we went outside as the intensity continued, and there was a lot to gain from being at practice today.
For sure. It was a fun day. For sure, we got to see some football. We got to see some Hassan Reddick, who is on the cover. So that was pretty cool to get our first look at him because he has been training out on his own. He was at the first phase of OTAs, where they're not really on the field. Technically, it's not OTAs. The phase one of the off-season program, the lifting, conditioning, and stuff. But we got to see Hassan Reddick today up close and personal, and he was pretty impressive. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't really fill out the uniform, right? But man, he's fast. There's no doubt about it. He knows what he's doing, and for him to get out there with Yaya, Diaby today, and the front four, I thought that was good to see, and we had really a kind of an up close and personal look because we were inside the team facility, the practice facility to start with. There was some clouds rolling over, some lightning, not much rain, just some sprinkles really, but they were inside. And, during that special teams portion of practice that kind of kicked things off, to see Hassan Reddick and Yaya Diaby, those guys not playing special teams, of course, and Vita Vea and Kalijah Cansey, those guys not playing special teams, working with Charlie Strong and just kind of getting their steps down. And we kind of saw some really interesting twists and stunts and guys lining up in different positions. There's a lot going on with this Todd Bowles scheme, and I think Hassan Reddick's presence makes a difference. I think he will be a difference maker, and just really exciting to see him with this defense for the first time. And he and Yaya were spending a lot of time together, kind of talking and going through a lot of steps together. And I think it's going to be a very interesting defensive front. And we even saw a couple of other players. Logan Hall walked over, Desmond Watson walked over, and it just was a really cool thing to see that the groundwork being laid here by this defensive front. And those guys spent 15 minutes, which was the special teams period, working together, just getting those extra kind of mental reps and steps in communication. And I'm excited for what the future holds for this team this year.
Yeah, first off, I'm glad our long national nightmare is over. And probably the dumbest storyline that we've had with the Bucs is whether or not Hassan Reddick is going to be there, just based on the previous things from his career and previous things that happened with the Bucs last season with Randy Gregory. And in a weird way, it was a blessing in disguise that the first portion of practice was inside. As you said, there was no rain, but I remember parking my car at the Bucs facility and I saw the flash of lightning. So you had to go inside. So typically, if this was outside at the beginning of practice, some of the D linemen would have been right in front of us, but they kind of just stand around, and all the other work gets done, 2 fields over and all the way down, where you got to zoom your phone in as much as you possibly can and get it to that 15x. But this way, we were able to just go right there and see Hassan Reddick and the rest of the defensive linemen. And it was cool to see the communication he was having with all of these guys. If you check out our video over on our Instagram. It's a little bit of a cut up of Hassan Reddick running through practice, and then going through some of these drills right here. And the last parts of the video on our Instagram reel, it's him talking with Logan Hall, being like, "You're going this way, I'm going that way." And sure, it's June, they're not in pads yet and all,
right?
But the sausage has to get made.
That's right.
One way or another, it's got to begin one way or another. And to see him walking with Yaya Diaby as well, stride for stride. And by the way, David Walker did not participate today. We talk about who didn't practice in just a moment. Seeing those two together and then translating into practice today, where Yaya had a sack, Anthony Nelson had a sack. There were a number of sacks from the outside linebackers.
Defense really ruled the day, right?
Defense
really did.
Outruled the day. They were the better of the group, and that doesn't mean Bucs fans have to worry about the Bucs offense by any means.
Right.
But we knew there needs to be a revamping of the Buccaneers defense, and especially in red zone and goal line today, it was all about the defense. But I feel that the mere presence of Hassan Reddick today, being out there, going in drills, lining up with the defense, because other veterans were there. Levante David was there, but Levante did not participate, and he does not need to. He's Levante David. He's been here for over a decade.
Right.
To have Hassan Reddick in there, I think everybody can feel the aura a little bit of what the potential of this man can be and what the potential of this defense can be, with an onslaught of a pass rush and a revamped secondary of guys that will take the football away.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the inside linebackers are hooting and hollering and Anthony Walker dancing on the sideline.
Yeah.
The vibes are very high. As of June 10th, the vibes are very high on this Buccaneers defense, and having Hassan Reddick in the building where everyone else can shut up about whether or not he's going to be I think was very helpful today.
Yeah, and also too, this was really the first practice where Embiid has been in the building. He just hasn't really been a participant, right? But this is really the first practice where Desmond Watson has a chance to work with Vita Vea up close and personal and see how he does. And it was great. Vita, we're literally standing 10 feet away from this portion of the practice, because this was the closest area to where the media was sectioned off and practice. And Vita was kind of clowning with the media. He was holding up he was doing like a little air camera there with the phones.
He does that a lot. He would do it like last year during practice and things like that. So some of us had a standoff with Vita Vea, of course, in a comical way. Like, I wasn't putting my phone down until he put his fake phone down.
Exactly.
So, happy to say that the media won that round against Vita Vea, although he's there to actually work on drills. We're there to watch him work on drills, and photograph it and video it and stuff like that. But yeah, just good-natured humor from Vita Vea.
Yeah, it really was. And the thing that really kind of stood out to me about that section there is the communication. And we asked a couple of the players. I asked Tyke Smith, who was stepping up in kind of a leadership role on the defensive side of the ball. And he did say Servassier Dennis, who's gotten rave reviews from everybody from Zion McCollum to Yaya to whoever. But Yaya, when he was on the program, remember, a month or so ago, he wanted to take more of a leadership role. He's like, it's not about the C on the chest. I just want to be more of a leader. And when the team started their 11-on-11s, and it was great because Coach Bowles really did us a favor today. They started with a call-it period. Yeah. So he wanted all the players off the field onto the sidelines. And that opened up our view, because the players typically stand in unison behind the play.
Guys subbing in and out,
Yeah, but they stand behind the play because that's really the place to watch the game. I mean, if you have end zone seats in football, in my opinion, the end zone seats are the best, because that's where you can see the whole 53 yards. You can see the holes develop. Now, when they're down at the other part of the end zone, like, you got to watch it on the Jumbotron to get it. But some people like the sideline seats, but the media are always kind of like cordoned off behind the play, like in the end zone. And so when there's no players present, when it's just the coaches on the field and the players, you really get a good view. And we did see that today. And so when the defensive players first came onto the field, Yaya and Servassier Dennis took the time to high five and handshake everybody that came on the field. You could just see their enthusiasm, and they're I think going to become the vocal leaders for this unit. I think they feel, and obviously it should be your middle linebacker, right? Because he's the captain of the defense. Levante is a leader, but he does it kind of like in a lead by example type way. He'll be the first one to tell you you've seen a myriad of interviews of Lavonte this offseason. That's kind of his preferred leadership style. Or he'll have one-on-one conversations with guys. That's how Derek Brooks was. So that's really nothing new if you've been a longtime Buccaneer fan. Very similar approach. Whereas Warren Sapp, he was kind of like the mouth of the South. He was the vocal leader, the fire starter up front. And I think Yaya Diaby is starting to become more of that. He really was taking the lead and those conversations with those defensive players down there, Matt. Whereas in the first 2 years, he was more of the kind of the observer. He was the listener. Right. Now he was the guy kind of directing traffic a little bit. And that was kind of cool to see with that extended look at that little bit of a defensive line practice there while special teams is going on.
Agreed. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Yaya has been talking the talk, as he said on the Pewter Report podcast when he came on about a month ago. And now he is walking the walk in this situation, but he's walking the walk by talking, if you will, when you really look at it. But this is great for so many reasons and on so many levels, because there's been an opportunity for somebody to go and be a vocal leader, a rah-rah guy, someone that's in your face, but in a good way, that the Bucs haven't had in quite a while. You mentioned Lavonte David, who's more of a like, hey, let's have a one-on-one conversation. Antoine Winfield Jr. is very, lead by example, a little soft-spoken. Same with Vita Vea. And Vita Vea certainly proves it with his play on the field. And, Todd Bowles said on the podcast 2 weeks ago when he was on that, Vita's got that sarcasm and players gravitate to him for his personality as well. But has Vita or Antoine Winfield Jr. or Lavonte David really ever been the guy when the going gets tough to be like, come on, let's go, things like that? No, they haven't. And you can't be what you aren't supposed to be, I guess. And that's why it's important to have that fire star. I think the Bucs have a lot of leaders by example, and that's great. That's why this team has sustained success over the last 5 years. But you got to have a different type of a leader sometimes. Somebody that's going to give you a swift kick in the ass, if we're being honest. Yeah. And that's what they had with JPP back in 2020 and helping that team in 2021 reach career highs in regular season wins. There's been a void in that aspect of leadership, not with production, getting to the quarterback, things of that nature. But when the going gets tough, when you need somebody to really lay it out on the line and keep it real. Yeah. I don't know if the Bucs have necessarily had that over the past couple of seasons. They have it in other areas, and they have guys that will take bullets for each other. Yeah. But I think Yaya's going to really keep it real this season. He said so, and he's getting it underway right now. So that's a great sign for Bucs fans and for Yaya Diaby, who's really got a big year to find out if he can be a top dog as an edge rusher for this team, or if he's better solidified as OLB2.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And that's kind of what Larry Foote has said. He's publicly said, hey, by year 3, like in your 3rd year, you're going to tell the league who you are. It's not like you can't get better in year 4, 5, or 6, but you're pretty much established by year 3. Like if you're a double-digit sacker, this is kind of the year to become that guy, right? And if you're not, then you may never be, right? I mean, that's just kind of how it is. And for as good as Gerald McCoy was, and I get he went to the 6 Pro Bowls, he never had double-digit sacks. He never was that double-digit sack guy. He was a very good defensive tackle, but I think the highest he got was 9.5, and that might have been in year 3. But then there were years, 6 sacks, 4.5, whatever after that. So if Larry Foote's told us that, which he did, he's told Yaya that. He's told Jose Ramirez, who's in his 3rd year, and Marquise Watts, who's in his 3rd year. It's like, guys, this is it. This is the year to kind of make or break your career. Like, are you going to be, Batman? Or are you going to be Robin? Are you going to be, the dude, the alpha, or are you going to be, a bit of a beta in the room? And, it takes, you can't have enough cooks in the kitchen, right? It's like somebody's got to, be the leader. The other guy's got to be the follower. But if you're going to be a big time sack producer, by the 3rd year, you should kind of understand the speed of the game. You should have your moves refined. it should be showtime. And I think it's going to be for Yaya. His give a crap factor is very, very high. And I think that was the one thing when he was on the podcast, a little bit of a different vibe between he and Zion, right? Zion's more like upbeat and like, yeah, like let's bring on the schedule and, very kind of upbeat. I thought Yaya was very, a little subdued and serious. He really meant business, which was great to see. Again, he's very upbeat. He's very positive, but it was just kind of like, yeah, man, like we're going to do it. Like no more talk. It's time for some action. And I thought that was really evident. What he said on our podcast, we've kind of seen in action now with his demeanor and the interaction between those players. It's like he wants to be the tide that lifts all boats, I think. And I think that's great to see.
He's also joining the SAC Summit this we're already in the off season, but you know, in between mandatory minicamp and training camp. I talked to him about that, and he didn't go last year. I'm like, "Are you going this year?" Because Elijah went, and he's like, "Yeah, I need to go." I'm like, "Yeah, you need to go. Like, if you want to be that guy, get every opportunity you can." So defensive players are so there's a big thing, tight end TEU. It's set up every year by Greg Olson and George Kittle and a couple of guys, and it's really blown up. But the SAC Summit, it's been set up by Max Crosby, Cameron Jordan, and Von Miller. But it's good to see that Yaya will be involved, trying to hone in on his skills, because I do think double-digit sacks are possible. For Yaya Diaby. So good to see him trying to better himself in every way possible.
Yeah, for sure. So some other news today, just in terms of who was there and who wasn't. The good news, everybody was there, but we did have some players not practicing. And it's interesting because we hadn't seen Tristan Wirfs, and we're like, okay, maybe he's playing a veteran move, right? He's highly paid offensive lineman. He's up in the, he's got some gravitas now, being a Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Levante David didn't really practice. That's fine. He's 35. You don't need him to go out there and run around the minicamp. He knows what he's doing. Anthony Walker's been getting rave reviews. Servassier Dennis has been getting rave reviews. Deion Jones has been, I think, a great, pleasant surprise / addition this offseason, because he was a latecomer last year on the practice squad. But Tristan Wirfs had a sleeve over his right knee and kind of like a big bit of a brace. And Todd Bowles didn't seem too concerned about it. I asked him if this was something that happened during, is it a continuation of an injury that happened in the season that's kind of lingered, or is this something that kind of popped up this offseason? He said it kind of popped up this offseason. So, but didn't seem too concerned about it. He was actually moving around pretty well with the trainer, Bobby. His last name escapes me. Slater. Thank you. Finally, 53 kicked in, like Bobby Slater. And he looked a little cumbersome, but I think it was the brace more than anything else. And so he I think should be good for training camp. Trey Palmer was also a player that was there on the sidelines, wasn't working out. We did see Chris Godwin come out later. Obviously, he's doing a lot of work in the building with the rehab and all that, but he did stand for the last hour of practice or so out there.
Once the Bucs came outside, he kind of stood on the sideline there. Palmer was an interesting one because we noticed it, like special teams was going on. I was like, wait, where's Trey Palmer? He's one of the return guys. So he was on the sideline. David Walker did not participate once again. Remember, he did not participate in OTAs, and yes, it's voluntary, but the rookies typically participate. So David Walker.
I think J.C. Allen reported that he's got a hamstring or something, and that's probably soft tissue injury. That makes sense.
Right. And then the other one, this was a better sign, was Christian Izien, who had not been practicing with the team. He participated in individual drills, but was not there when it was 11 on 11s and things of that nature. But good to see Christian Izien kind of back on the up and up. The worst thing was interesting just because he had the brace on his. Typically, like, linemen will have braces on either no knees or both knees,
right?
Depending on like what their situation is. He only had it on the right, but didn't really like balance it out with the left knee as well. I wouldn't worry about it just yet. We're in June.
Exactly, and he was doing everything from pass protection slides, to like taking off and putting weight on it, and kind of like acting like he was run blocking. So he was doing all the movement drills. And I think the only thing that looked a little cumbersome was the fact he had the brace on, because it was like a little clunky. But everything other than that looked pretty smooth. It wasn't like he was limping or anything like that. So
Correct.
I think it was more precautionary in nature. And let's see, anybody else? I'm trying to think here. Maybe I should read Bailey's Insider.
Yeah, I have that. I have that popped up as well.
Yeah, Michael Pratt still
right.
was not out there. He's dealing with injury. But yeah, listen, Kyle Trask looked great today. I thought. I mean, Kyle Trask today looked like he's as comfortable as he's ever been. He's been ripping the ball. We did talk to Baker Mayfield today. I asked him about it's something you and I talked about on the show here, Matt, watching the OTAs. It looks like there's a little bit more of a vertical element to this passing game. And that's something he confirmed. And Trask has been just
he's been
down
the
the
guy.
field.
Now, we've only had one mandatory minicamp practice, but going back to OTAs the past couple of weeks, and we were only allowed to be there for one practice per week. But it seems like once a practice, Kyle Trask is the one that is finding the deep ball to his players. And he had a beautifully thrown deep ball today. Unfortunately, it was dropped by Jalen McMillan, who had a pretty rough day overall. But Trask is certainly pushing the envelope a little bit more. He looks in better shape too than not that was ever in bad shape, but he looks a little more like chiseled this year as well. And even he's not taking Baker Mayfield's job or anything like that. But even watching him down at the red zone where the offense was coming towards us, hearing his cadence and his calls, like his voice is like deeper, it's more guttural. And I don't know if it's like a confidence thing or just like,
I think it is.
Hey, the team likes me enough that they re-signed me to another 1-year deal. Kyle Trask, as Jason Light said yesterday, we hope we never see him in a regular season game. But Kyle Trask,
but they've got confidence in him. They really like him. Yeah,
he's on the ball, and you know what? He's going to be working with Emeka Egbuka and Rakim Jarrett. Some of Egbuka's going to be on the team, but McMillan and Cameron Johnson. A lot of guys. Egbuka's fine, McMillan's fine, but some of these other guys that are going to be fighting to get the last roster spot on this team. Yeah. And Kyle Trask is going to elevate these guys. I really do think. I don't know how much we're going to talk about Kyle Trask today, but
I know
he's been one of the more impressive guys in training camp. And even like Baker today, and this is a great photo as well with Emeka Egbuka with Mike Evans. That was something that was very noteworthy. They were right next to each other as they were warming up today. Baker was kind of missing on some of his deep balls, and particularly with Mike Evans, there was a couple of overthrows. Now, again, does this concern me for when they snap the ball in September?
Exactly.
No, not at all. But one thing to know is that Kyle Trask has been hitting these deep balls where Baker could not find Mike Evans today.
Yeah, and listen, give Baker some credit, man. He came to camp in better shape last year, and I say he's in as good a shape as he was this past offseason, or maybe even better shape. I mean, like look at this picture. He's very thin. Very muscular. He's been working out. I mean, like he looks great and ready to go. And it's not a contract year for him because he has 2 years left on his deal. But Matt, guess what? It's a contract year for him because if he blows up this year, what I mean by that is if he has a similar type of season as he did a year ago, and listen, it might not be 71% completion. It might be like 68% completion. Sure, fine, whatever. 4,500 yards. 40-plus touchdowns. If he does that again, and I think he's totally capable of it, especially with even more weapons this year and in a better, older, more experienced offensive line that has a second year together, he's not going to be a $33 million quarterback next year. He will be a $50-plus million quarterback. So I love the fact that he's hungry. He wants to win. He's a team-first guy. But he also is wise enough to understand that, hey, if I do what I did last year, and this team advances further into the playoffs, and I play better in the playoff game, like I could just about double my salary. And, you only have so many bites at the apple. Baker's 30 years old now. The next contract extension he gets very well could be his last. Jason Light says, I want him here for a very, 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 very long year.
Yes, there were four varies. Right. I counted it.
Exactly. Right? Yes. So that's what I was saying. Like, it might be we're going to rip up your last year, which would be 2026.
Yeah.
And give you 4 more years. Then he's 30. He'll be 31 next time. He'll be 35 years old. Right. So and then he's making maybe an average of 50 plus million dollars a year over the next 4 years. So he goes from being $100 million quarterback to a $200 million quarterback, right? Just with one more really good season. And hopefully he takes the Bucs all the way, or at least deeper into the playoffs. And I think it's totally capable. But I love how he has come into camp in incredibly good shape. I love his demeanor. He wants to take more ownership of this offense. I think for everything that's said about Baker Mayfield, he's got incredible arm strength. He's cocky. He's got an offensive lineman's mentality, right?
Yeah.
He's an alpha. He's a great leader. He's very accurate. Like, for all of those things that is said about Baker Mayfield, I think that the one thing that really stands out to me that he doesn't get enough credit for is just how much of a team first guy he is. And he's not holding out like Terry McLaurin. He's not at the Redskins, or I'm sorry, the Commanders, camp and stuff. Baker's not going to hold out. He's not going to do that. But next year, I think Jason Light and Mike Greenberg are going to kind of cut him off at the pass and say, hey, it's time now. Let's get this done and extend you. And I think one more year of very similar success and even more team success, which this team is capable of, and he gets there.
Right, because the Bucs are in a situation right now in terms of Baker's contract where they can kind of just let it play out. Like, yes, they want to give him the money and everything that he deserves.
Yeah.
But quietly let him prove it one more time that he is a guy that can be the leader of a high-octane, fully functional offense that's, top 3 in the league. And then I'm always an advocate of paying the guy before it's too late to pay him.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so many times other bad contract situations, or even with the quarterback position, pay the quarterback now, because if you wait 2 years, even if he's under contract, it's just going to cost you more and more and more and more and more. So you might as well do it now if you believe in him. And then if your contract runs up until 35, that gives you plenty of years to try to find a successor as well.
Right.
Again, you're focused on the present, and Baker's your quarterback now.
Yeah.
But we've also been fooled by Tom Brady that, you can play till you're 40 and still be incredible. No, That's not the case. A lot of these guys get on the decline. Aaron Rodgers, we'll see when the Bucs go up against the Steelers and join training camp practice. Aaron Rodgers is not the same guy now in his 40s than what he was at 35. Drew Brees was the same. Peyton Manning was the same. I don't envision Baker being the same type of Baker at 35 than what he was last season and what we believe that he will be this season. So take care of it now. Get your money now, Baker, or after the season, whatever the case may be. And in the meantime, the Bucs might as well start writing up that contract, because they got all of their ducks in a row, really. When you think about it. We'll see what happens with extensions, but they already got Tristan Wirfs under contract for a while. Same with Antoine Winfield Jr. Same with the entire offensive line. Wide receiver, you got Godwin locked down, and you have McMillan and Ibuka on rookie contracts. Evans, you got for one more year. Everything is in place for this defense.
It is.
And offense and defense, to continue to go on a run year in and year out. It takes me back to what Jason said yesterday when he was on the show, when we asked him about Baker Mayfield and how rare it is to, find the next guy to come in and continue that succession, still be successful the way that the 49ers and the Packers have done it. And what Jason had said was, there are so many teams that go out and they overpay or they overtrade for guys kind of just for the sake of having
just
a quarterback. Yeah, just desperation. And you see it all the time in the draft where you give up tons and tons of picks for one guy, and it might not even be the guy that you want. It's just one person saying this has to be it. And the way that the Bucs have avoided that while also building a great team is so commendable, and it's commendable to Baker Mayfield as well. And another factor, and he spoke about it a little bit today, is while, yes, it's not the same exact offensive coordinator, this is the most continuity and the most built foundation he's ever had in his career. And he's been at this for quite a while now.
No. And I think the thing too is the other thing Baker doesn't get enough credit for is his high football IQ. He was a really, really smart football player. Like, he understands the game. and he's ready to take on more of the ownership of this offense too. And that's something Josh Grizzard wants to put on his plate. He wants Baker to run the show. And I thought Baker said, what we need to do this year on offense is not just me know what we want to do in this particular look. Hey, the play that I called isn't going to work because they're in a front we didn't expect. But he wants everybody to anticipate, as they're going to the line of scrimmage, they got a particular look here that's not favorable, and they know what's coming. Because then when Baker makes that call, in their mind, they've already kind of beat him to the punch. All 11 guys, including Baker, know what they're going to audible to, right? They know what they're going to can the play and go to a different play. And that way, it's by the time the ball is snapped, all 11 are on the same page. And it's not a thing where Baker at the line is checking, and now you've got the left guard or the rookie receiver or whoever, and they're thinking, okay, wait a minute, it was this. Now, and right as they're thinking, the ball snapped. And now it's like you have that half-second delay of like, what was my route again, or what was the audible? And that's kind of where disaster can happen. You have a receiver running the wrong route. You have a guard, or a tackle blowing, the pass protection. It's supposed to slide this way, and all of a sudden there's a huge hole because one person went the other way. They're all trying to get on the same page, and Baker's taking ownership of that and making sure with better communication in the meetings, on the field, on the walkthroughs, everything, that all that stuff is seamless. Baker wasn't the only person who was looking absolutely great and kind of chiseled today too. Rashad White met with the media, and I asked him because he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. It's a contract year. He knows it. Everybody knows it. Bucky Irving's starting running back. Rashad will certainly have a role. He's very much a team player. Is he disappointed? I'm sure he is. Everybody wants to be the starting running back. Josh Williams, the undrafted free agent that Jace Light was raving about yesterday, the kid from LSU, he wants to be the starter. DJ Williams, the practice squad running back, wants to be the starter. Sean Tucker wants to be the starter. Like, that's not a surprise. But there's only one football. And when Rashad, what he said, I thought it made a lot of sense. When my number's called, I want to perform. And he went from 22 pounds down to 212. He feels a little faster, lighter, and I'm excited about his mindset this year. He's not going to get as many touches. He's got to make every single touch count, Matt, and that's a great attitude to have entering a contract year, whether he is going to play his last season at Tampa or whether he might take the Kyle Trask train and re-up for one more year. We saw Leonard Fournette do that, right? Where he signed after the Super Bowl season on, for one more year, and then he finally got the bigger deal. But Antonio Brown kind of had to do the same thing, winning a Super Bowl, then he re-signed for 1 year. It wasn't the money that he wanted, but he kind of had to take it. And we'll see what the market's going to bear for Rashad. But full of positivity. The interesting thing, too, that he said was Rick Stroud had asked him about one last ride. About the emoji he put on that picture, and it really had nothing to do with his contract year. He was actually listening to country music that day, and it kind of had country music on the mind. And I believe him. I think he was pretty genuine about that. And I think sometimes we all, no matter what the post is about, whether it's sports, politics, whatever, we can read too much into the written word sometime without the proper context.
It was funny. I was on the Jay Retcher show before, our buddy Jay, and he was like, "Do you believe Rashad White?" when he said that? And I said, "I believe he was listening to country music at the time when he when he made the post."
Yeah,
I'm sure Rashad kind of knows in his head that this might be his last time in Tampa. And before I was saying how much I commend Baker Mayfield, you can double that for Rashad White. I give him a ton of credit and a ton of respect for how he is really handling this situation, because in many ways, and I've been guilty of it a little bit as well, of some of us have kind of just pushed Rashad White out the door already because Bucky was such a sensation. He's going to be here for at least the next 3 years. And Sean Tucker, although it's been limited in what he's done, we've seen the results of giving the ball more to Sean Tucker and just giving him more playing time, and he can erupt like he did against the Saints when he won NFC Offensive Player of the Week. So at times you kind of move on because you're always looking for the next big thing, and Bucky became the next big thing. So you almost got to pump the brakes a little bit because Rashad's still going to be very important to this offense. And
Right.
just the way that he was like, yeah, I'm just going to go with the flow this season. Like he's very zen right now. I think Rashad is very comfortable with who he is as a football player, what his standards are, the caliber of person he is, the quality of person that he is, putting in the work this offseason, as you just mentioned, losing about 10 pounds, getting into the playing shape. It was really cool to see how Rashad White is handling all of this because other guys could have, really not taken it the same way that Rashad White has. And, he was asked about his relationship with Bucky too. Like, how is it going to be now that Bucky is kind of getting more of the bulk of the reps? And he says, our relationship speaks for itself. Bucky has done a great job. Our relationship, we don't go off of who gets more reps and things like that. We're both trying to help each other out. That's what it's about. We're both trying to push each other. How I go in this mindset is just keep competing, keep making him better, and he's making me better. As long as we're both being great and being better, it's going to make our team better. So, again, tons of credit to Rashad White for handling this the right way, where it could have been a major storyline for all the wrong reasons for Bucs fans and this Bucs team. And he's like, nah, I'm good. He talked about just being grateful, being blessed that he's healthy. And it's a good perspective for not just the NFL, but for really life. So, good on Rashad White for, not being a distraction this season.
Right. Remember when Keyshawn Vaughn was pitching a little fit, about playing time and I guess he was inactive,
and he hadn't even completed a quarter of what Rashad White has done in his career.
Exactly, yeah. And then he decided to hold out of practice and bye, Felicia. Don't let the door hit you, you know. And so there's just not many guys in this team that are even in that realm anymore. This is such a clean team locker room where everybody is just on the same page and rooting for each other. I've never seen anything like it. Like I've said before, I have covered this team when Tony Dungy was the coach. I have covered it when John Gruden was the coach, and certainly some guys in between. But even Bruce Arians, the locker room wasn't as tight as it is now with Todd Bowles. The chemistry, the camaraderie, the culture is just off the chain. Speaking of chemistry and camaraderie and all of that, the folks over at Briar Greaves Insurance, which not only rep me, but also Jason Light. You heard it on the podcast. He is a Jason Light is a Briar Greaves Insurance customer. Listen, folks, the reason why is because they're an independent agency. They're family owned and operated. They're here in Tampa. They can help you if you live in the state of Florida, no matter if you're up in the Panhandle, down in the South Florida, wherever. They can help you with your insurance needs. And they're going to do you a favor. They're going to try to save you money. And all you have to do is give them a call. Give them a call and say, hey, I heard about it on the Pewter Report podcast. I'd like to save some money. Can you shop my car insurance, or can you shop my homeowner's insurance or my business insurance and see if you can save me money? And they're going to try their damnedest. And if they can, they're going to let you know. And if they can't, they're going to say, hey, you've got a great policy. Keep what you got. But thanks for the call. But more often than not, they're going to find you a way to save money. And the important thing is we're in hurricane season now. And the reason why that's important is we had 2 hurricanes hit the state of Florida almost back to back last October. And if you don't have flood insurance and you live in a flood zone, if you live by the coast, Pinellas, Pasco, wherever in Florida, there's the coastline. Or maybe you live in a flood zone because you're near a river in Hillsborough County. Or maybe you have a pond or a lake that can flood with a lot of rainfall. You need to make sure you have flood insurance as well as homeowners insurance. Homeowners insurance protects against fire and wind, but if there's a flood, that won't protect you. So many Floridians found out the hard way. Let Briar Greaves Insurance help you see if you need flood insurance, and then if you do, couple that with your homeowners insurance and auto. They can save you some money. Also, too, Briar Greaves is a Geico carrier. My insurance is with Travelers, but they just offered Geico in the state of Florida, so they can write Geico policies as well. So there's so many reasons to give Briar Greaves a call and give them your business. Give them a call at 813-876-4166 or visit them on the web at BriarGreavesInsurance.com. That's Briar, B-R-I-E-R, Greaves, G-R-I-E-V-E-S, insurance.com.
And again, Jason Light uses Briar Greaves.
That's right.
If there's any other reason to use Briar Greaves, it's because Jason Light uses them as well.
Absolutely. Some of the other things too. We spoke with Tyke Smith today. You mentioned Jalen McMillan not having the best day. Jalen got a lot of props from Jason yesterday, and he has had a really good offseason for sure. But today he had a touchdown in his hands, and Tyke Smith ripped the ball out right there in the end zone for an incompletion. And boy, that made Todd Bowles happy.
Oh my goodness. So last week we were talking about how Benjamin Morrison ripped the ball away from Emeka Egbuka. I thought that was as last second as it could possibly be. I was wrong. I was proven wrong today by Tyke Smith, because I even think Jalen McMillan's feet hit the ground, but then still you have to come through with it.
Yeah.
And I am loving that we're seeing several defensive backs now not giving up on a play even after the ball is caught, because it's the NFL. These receivers are talented. They're going to catch the football, but to not give up and to still rip it out last second was absolutely incredible. And it was in the back of the end zone. We were right in front of it. I got to be honest. I beat Todd Bowles to the punch. I was going like this. I was saying that was incomplete before Todd did as well. But that was just a microcosm of what this defense was doing in the red zone specifically. I mean, you had the first unit with Baker and the guys. You had the second unit with Kyle Trask and the guys. And this defense was shutting down everything in the red zone. Now, granted, like, they weren't really running the football. It was a lot of pass situations. Baker found Kate on a couple of times, but they really didn't score any touchdowns. So it was a ton of
George Edwards calling plays today, man.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that.
He's in the new role. He's calling the plays. And Todd Bowles during these call-it periods.
Neutral.
They're neutral, yeah. He is the head coach, and I'm sure we'll see Larry Foote call the plays sometimes. And George Edwards had the walkie-talkie today. He was communicating with Servacia Dennis, and the defense was humming today. And Josh Grizzard, it wasn't like he wasn't dealing today.
Right.
It just, the defense just leveled up, and they just were really on top of it today. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the back and forth, right? Because the first week OTAs, it was all defense. Second week was all offense. So we'll see how these other 2 days play out here. Wednesday's practice, tomorrow's practice, going to be another really good practice. Thursday, it's going to be shortened. It's
going to be like an hour. It's it will be a lot of 11 on 11, which is nice and stuff like that, and probably a lot of red zone work. But probably not as much like on the field competition and things of that nature. But the team's putting in a lot of good work right now.
Right.
Definitely more towards the defense today, but that I'm not concerned at all about the Bucs offense. The offensive line isn't wearing pads, so they can't block the same way that they typically can.
I was gonna say that's Todd Bowles' favorite line. Just t-shirt and shorts. No pads, just t-shirt and shorts.
Nobody impressed Todd Bowles because it's all t-shirt and shorts. What was impressive though is Jacob Parrish had the only interception of the day, and it wasn't even really more of a play by Parrish. It was actually a drop by Rakim Jarrett. He was over on the left sideline. Jarrett just like bobbled it. Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't Jacob Parrish. Jacob Parrish had a pass breakup where he actually timed the route and probably should have had a pick six going the other way. It was Bryce Hall, me. Bryce Hall had the only interception. It was Rakim Jarrett that was bobbling the football. And Hall just kind of ran over, snagged it, and went the other way. So good concentration by Bryce Hall to go and take the ball away. And, we haven't spoken about him as much because there's a lot of shiny new toys with Benjamin Morrison and Jacob Parrish. But again, to go back to the depth of this team, if Bryce Hall is your fourth string cornerback or even fifth string cornerback, that's pretty damn good. And even Kindle Vildor, Jason Light, stopped the show yesterday.
I know.
By the way, he's been really good. So good to see the depth of this team really shining in several ways already this offseason.
No doubt. No super chats from y'all today. That's okay. We got a lot yesterday. We're not mad, but we do have some comments we're going to get to in just a second here. But listen, the weather was nice today. It was overcast, kind of rained a little bit, but then it was sunny and nice. And we're getting into the hotter season. So that means you got to get your tee times earlier, right? You need to get those early morning tee times or play some of that twilight golf right around sunset. And one of the places, if you haven't been to Heritage Isles Golf and Country Club yet, check them out, man. They're up here in my neck of the woods, kind of like in the new Tampa area, just south of Wesley Chapel, and really rated as one of the better value courses. They're ranked in the top 3, as a matter of fact, the best value course in Tampa St. Pete by Golf Advisor, which is one of the more notable publications out there. And for tee times, give them a call, 813-907-7447. It is a country club, so you can join and have a membership there. It's also open to the public, and it's a great value. Of course, you're not going to break the bank. And if you're looking for a new place to play some rounds of golf and you haven't played Heritage Isles yet, do it. It's a great course. I've been out there myself. Great staff out there. So check it out this weekend, or maybe play hooky from work and go out there and swing the club around.
Yeah, that's right. Always love playing golf. It's the U.S. Open this week as well.
That's right. Yeah. We want to give a shout out here to Nanad Madik, who became a YouTube channel member. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that.
Yes. Thank
you. And not just that, but he is from Belgrade, Serbia. We love our international Bucs fans. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much for your support. This probably is a good time to let everybody know that they can help us out with channel memberships. It's something you can do to help support us. We're planning our travel budget. We're going to go to Pittsburgh for that joint practice up there. And so if you're wondering, well, what does my money do for me? Well, it gets you great Bucs coverage because we use the money we get from our Pewter Report channel members to go to away trips, Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl, and Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine. Next year, we have to go to Phoenix for the NFL annual meeting. This year, we went to West Palm, and we had a couple of road trips. So that's where your money goes. And there's different membership levels, $3.99 a month, $6.99, $9.99, $24.99, different levels of perks that you get. The Pewter Platinum members get the annual meetup, which we're going to have, and we're looking forward to that. $24.99 a month, $9.99, $6.99, $3.99. Find the membership level that fits your budget the best, and we appreciate your support. It helps us in more ways than you can imagine. We want to provide you guys with the best podcast we can. We've really tried to ramp up the guests on this show. I think we've had a great offseason doing that. Appreciate everybody that's come on from the team. We have a couple more lined up this summer, which we're excited about. We'll get to those in the coming weeks. But if you are a business owner, or let's say you work for a marketing department for a business and you're interested in advertising with Pewter Report, we have a couple different options. We have our Pewter Report podcast here. We have the pewterreport.com website, which has become a juggernaut, as well as our social media channels. So if you're interested in getting more new customers, we can help you score those new customers. Advertise with us. Sponsorship opportunities are available for the summer, for the fall, for football season. Drop me an email at sr@pewterreport.com. I'm happy to have a conversation with you about that. Speaking of conversations, let's get to some of these comments we have started here, Matt.
Yeah, let's start off actually with Richard Branham.
Thank you.
Who has gifted 5 Pewter Report memberships. So thank you so much, Richard Branham, parentheses, Rich Bucs fan Branham. Yeah. We appreciate your generous gift of 5 Pewter Report memberships.
Greatly appreciate that.
Money Making Mitch says, some strong work lately, Pewter Report staff. Go Bucs. Yes, thank you very much. It's truly been a pleasure seeing this YouTube page of ours, this YouTube channel grow more and more. And one way that it grows is when we get on guests like Todd Bowles 2 Mondays ago and Jason Light yesterday. And we try to get on as many guests, especially from the team, as much as possible. So we wouldn't be able to grow this channel if it wasn't for you guys. So it works very much hand in hand. A lot of the guests, they want to go on the biggest platforms, and we're trying to make this
the exactly
platform as it can be. So thank you for the kind words. And yes, Rolf Steinbauer, we are on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Also, Rolf says that interview yesterday was awesome. Yeah, thank you. I thought there was a lot of great stuff from it. Of course, Jason immediately saying, I hate the Saints was big. His Tom Moore story was very cool. His conversation
Metallica was cool.
Yeah, Metallica and AC/DC. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't caught it yet, I get it. Start of the week yesterday. Highly recommend it. We do have a page on our YouTube channel, specific section for our interviews with Bucs players and coaches and front office members. So you can go right to it and check it out. Wasp says, no can't see calf injuries this training camp, please, with the fingers crossed emoji.
Yep.
I hope so, because
he's looked good.
To see what Elijah Cansey has done in his 2 seasons, starting pretty much in October. Just imagine if him and Vita Vea can get it going in the beginning of September. And of course, they'll funnel guys in and out as well to keep them ready and good to go for the whole season. But Tom
Logan
Ball said 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Logan Hall.
Yeah, he looks good too, man. He looks like he's ready to have a contract here too. I'm excited to see what Logan Hall.
I hope he has that consistency. That's the biggest thing for me. And he ended the season great. Yep. I mean, obviously you wanted to win, but he individually had a really good game. I hope that continues into this season. I don't want the big Logan Hall game and then just disappears for 4 weeks. And then, hey, he pops back up again and then disappears once again. Yeah. Get a little more consistency from Logan Hall week in and week out. That will go a long way for this Bucs team.
Yep, exactly.
Brian Molinaro says, congrats on 30 years, SR. Yeah, 3 decades of Bucs coverage.
Appreciate that very much. And Stubby Ryan, SR30, appreciate that. It means I'm old. So no, and I appreciate Matt Matera for that very kind commemorative story too. That was great. Really meant a lot to me and my family. And it was very well received. So very cool. I mean, the coolest thing about my job is I've been doing this for 30 years. It never gets old because my staff is just amazing. Like I genuinely love working with these guys. You should see some of the shit we write in the PR group chat.
Or that we say to each other.
Just like it's funny, like the little wars that some of us have between each other and stuff, and the rips and all that. It's all in good fun. We all work together really well.
Yes.
I'm almost glad we don't have like a centralized office because we would really get not much done. We'd all be like talking football and probably doing office Olympics.
Doing trivia.
Yeah. But it's cool when we convene at one Buccaneer place for mini camp and OTAs and training camp, et cetera, the games, the practices, interviews and stuff like that. So it's really great, the camaraderie. And then, Josh Capo is up in Atlanta. And so to be able to see him on some road trips, to see him in Indy, or he'll come down for a couple of days for training camp or Mobile.
That too. Yes.
Yeah, it's fun. So that's one part of it. For me, it's like the people you work with, and I just am blessed to have had great Pewter reporters work for me. But this crew right here is just special. There's just great people. We all get along great. That's what's awesome. The camaraderie there, and then it's y'all. I mean. I love this 4:00 hour because I got arthritis. It kind of hurts to type now. I'm just letting y'all know. I probably I don't do as much writing because I've got a great staff, but it's like I'm kind of the point where I'm like, popping, arthritis medicine and stuff like that. And but to be able to talk and communicate with you guys and do the show with Matt, I love it. I love the interaction. I love your questions and comments, whether they're friendly or, criticism, whatever. We love it. And to be able to have the guests and to see the channel grow, it's just great. I mean, the written word is awesome. I'm always going to do an SR's Fab 5 and mailbag and roundtable and those types of things. And I'll certainly do player stories and interviews and all that. But to have the interaction is it's really cool. And it's great. And then when I meet, people, like when I was on the cruise, Matt, like I had somebody 5 minutes on the cruise going, the face that runs the place.
And
I'm here I am like in Port Canaveral getting ready to go to the Dominican and Virgin Islands and all this. And, and it's like, there's a Bucs fan on there who recognized me from the podcast. And it's just awesome. I was at the Columbia restaurant today with my brother, Jeff, who's in town shooting pictures. And, we had the Pewter Report shirts on. He's like, oh my God, I love Pewter Report, It's cool. So I greatly enjoy it. This is literally a labor of love. I do it for you guys. I am your public servant when it comes to providing you guys with the news, the insight, the information. And, I'm only good at a couple of things, but I'm really good at hiring good people. And I love the fact that I get to work with Matt and Bailey and Josh and Sly and Cliff, our photographer. It's just awesome.
Yeah. Well, the feeling is mutual. I enjoy this team so much. I'm grateful to you. And I mean, this is all about you anyway, but so grateful for you and our fans, our staff, our fans, everybody. Interacting with everybody is so much fun. You make me laugh. Sometimes you make me angry. You make me think a lot. And you're right. The Bucs cruise was so eye-opening. We know that Bucs fans are passionate, but to see everybody all locate to one spot and then meeting fans and seeing your passion up close and personal is really, really super cool. So
Yeah.
appreciate everybody.
Yes,
Bat W
thank
says,
you.
I missed yesterday's interview live, but it was a good show. Thank you very much, Bat
Awesome.
W.
Appreciate that.
King
Sometimes
James.
you're hard to please, Bad W.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. So that's good. We appreciate that.
King James 813 says, love Pewter Report and their dedication to bring the Pewter people top-notch Bucs content on every podcast. Much appreciated, guys. Yeah, I mean, if anything, we try to give effort and energy on every single show. And if you bring in that, some are going to be great.
Yep.
Some, maybe it's not always the most ideal topic, but if we bring our effort and our energy, we can at least promise that every single show.
Exactly.
Flash Gordon says, I like the Tyke Smith media session today. Tyke is going to kick butt.
He's
it's very interesting. It's very interesting with Tyke Smith because he was a very quiet guy last season and very short in his responses.
Yeah.
Today, he was short with some answers, but I also think he kind of gave a conscientious effort to try to expand on some more of his thoughts. And they didn't always come out. There was a lot of uhs, but you could see not that he doesn't know how to speak publicly, but you could see that he wanted to elaborate more on things that he would not have even attempted to.
That's true.
That's year before. So I thought that was really cool from Tyke Smith.
No, I agree. And he's a dude, man. He's a flat out player. That dude he's going to ball this year. He's a real player. I almost feel like they've got two Antoine Winfield Juniors back at safety now.
Yeah.
He's got that it factor too, you know.
Light Engine says, I wonder how Tez is doing, talking about Tez Johnson.
Now, he got some props from Baker today too. He said he's that guy that you can't catch in a phone booth. You can't touch him. I mean, he's just super fast and quick, and is an embarrassment of riches in this offense, man. It's crazy. It just is.
I love when Jason Light mentioned, he's like, yeah, we got Cameron Johnson too. Like, he was the darling of last year. And then again, fresh new faces, shiny new toy.
I think the Buccaneers
you don't forget about it, but yeah.
The Buccaneers are going to lobby, I think, for 12 on offense.
Right.
And then maybe 60 on the roster, because their rosters is pretty loaded this year with talent. It really is.
JB, who is a Pewter Report YouTube channel member, says, any chance Rashad re-signs with us after this season? Excuse me. I've thought about this. There is a scenario where it happens, but it would like if you're Rashad White, or if I'm Rashad White, I'm saying I want to go to a spot where I know that I'm either going to be the starter or I'm going to be, and we'll see how it plays out with the Bucs this year, or I'm going to be in a rotation or a running back by committee type of situation. Right. Bucky was so good that he's going to get the lion's share regardless. So unless he goes out there and there's not a market for him and there's not a situation to go out and be the number one guy, then I could see him coming back to Tampa Bay, but he's going to want to get probably a better payday than what Tampa Bay will offer him and an opportunity to be a starter. So there is a chance, but I think there's better options out there for Rashad.
You got to chase the money while you can. This is
especially a running back.
This is a profession. This is your job. You're only going to do this for so many years. You got to get the money while you can. I understand. And we can sit there and say, oh, yeah, but look at Chris Godwin. He turned down $30 million. Okay, but he made $60 million before that.
And receivers, it's so different.
Exactly. And he had his rookie deal before that. So Chris Godwin has made buku money, right? This would be Rashad's second contract, right? Like you got the rookie deal. This will be his first opportunity to cash in, and I hope that he does. At the same time, if the market isn't there, then I could see him coming back to Tampa just because the culture and the camaraderie and the chemistry is good, and he's a fit here. He's welcomed here. He's, because the grass isn't always greener. When you go other places, even if it's for that payday, it just doesn't work out.
And I also think his skill set is good enough where he can kind of fit in other places based on that he's a good pass blocker and a good receiving running back. So that expands his market a little bit more. Hezo813 has now been a Pewter Report YouTube channel member for 10 months. We appreciate that, Hezo, who says, SR, Matty Diamonds, appreciate everything you guys do for us fans. We'll upgrade my membership to $49.99 if y'all get the Glazers on the podcast, LOL.
Listen, I got some pull now. I mean, I've been doing this for a minute. I'm one of the old, dogs now. I don't have that kind of pull.
We have a better chance at Jay Glazer than the Glazer.
Yeah. Well said, Matt. Well said. Yeah, they do one appearance per year. Matt and I are there always for the NFL annual meeting. We get Joel, and that's it. That's the only appearances they really make.
And
But
then,
for example, they're not even on Buccaneers.com talking to Casey or Bree or
right,
Scott Smith, right? They just don't. That's just kind of their MO.
Yeah, and that's fine. They're the owners; they get to do what they want. So. Yep. Beats McGee said, and thank you for being a
thank you so much, Beats McGee.
5 months. Says Pewter Report, Stroud, and Almond are all my favorites. They've all been on the podcast before.
Friends of the show, so friends of the program.
Glad to be in the combo.
Great. Great day today. I thought we kind of covered a lot. We touched on a lot of players that that kind of showed out today. Tomorrow we'll get even more of a look, and we'll kind of look a little bit further into like the John Bullocks and the JJ Roberts. JJ Roberts got some pub today. He's the nickel / safety. That listen, I'm not raining on Shiloh Sanders' parade, but I mean, I think this team likes JJ Roberts a little bit better than Shiloh. Now, Shiloh is going to have every opportunity once the Pats come on, especially to show up and show out. But it just seems like from the guaranteed money they gave JJ Roberts, they had him in for a 30 visit. Even when you hear Todd Bowles and Jason Light talk about young players that they're waiting to see in pads or who's look good, Shiloh's name doesn't really come up. So I know he's really popular. Shoot, my Pewter Pulse video on him just almost like 19,000 views. And he's a really cool guy. He's a really cool, interesting player.
Charismatic videos are very interesting.
He's the kind of guy you root for, like you do. Like you want him to do well. It's just this is a performance-based business. It just is. This is a meritocracy. I mean, sometimes players will wrongly keep or I should say, teams will keep players on their team a little longer than they should have because of their draft order. It's one thing I love about Jason Light. He's like, hey, I really screwed up with this Roberto Aguayo thing, right? I traded up to get him in the second round. It was a terrible move. I'm going to cut him after 1 year. And he did. And that takes a lot of balls, right? For a GM to make that type of mistake and admit it publicly so quickly. But you know what? That's why Jason Light got the extended time to build this Super Bowl roster, to attract Tom Brady, to win a Super Bowl in 2020 from the Glazers, because and they said, hey, you can make mistakes. Don't hang on to them and learn from them. And that's something I give Jason a lot of credit for. He's made some mistakes, but he doesn't really make the same mistake twice. And if he does make a mistake, he is quick to wipe his hands with it and move on.
That is right. And that's what has made him one of the best GMs in the league, if not the best. And that's why this team has had 5 consecutive playoff appearances.
Yep. One more promo here, folks, if we can. And this is one that's really going to benefit you. So I don't even feel bad like talking about this, but you've heard me talk about walk-ons. And what day is today, Matt?
Tuesday.
Tuesday is the best day for walk-ons because it's all-day happy hour plus $5 Tito's. It starts at 11 and doesn't end until they close the doors. It's a place where you can go eat like a winner, drink like a champ. $3.99 domestic pints, $5 premium house pours or happy hour wines. $5.49 will get you the 22-ounce domestic drafts, $4 hush puppies or onion rings, $7 boom boom shrimp, half waffle cheese fries, spinach and artichoke dip. $8 get you the boneless wings or cheeseburger sliders. I can make a meal out of those. So get to walk-ons and enjoy the happy hour. 3 locations in the Tampa Bay area to serve you: Midtown Tampa, Wesley Chapel, and also in Lakeland. And they've got plenty of TVs. You mentioned the U.S. Open's on this weekend, Matt. Sounds like a great place to go to watch the U.S. Open and drink some beer and have some amazing food.
Exactly. So shout out to Walk-Ons. Love that place. Love all of you guys and gals as well for your support of PewterReport.com. If you're not already doing so, please follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We are at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video as well, how you feel about the team going into the 2025 season. This was a fun show. We're going to try to have even more fun tomorrow as we further recap Bucs minicamp. So that'll do it for us. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.